Good evening and welcome everyone to Reading to the 246. My name is Karen Wall, but you can call me Auntie Karen. Welcome to Reading to the 246, again, a space where children of all ages, including adults, can learn facts and meet and interact with Barbadians, authors, and their books, and listen to stories from Barbadians, some popular and some not so well known. Remember to like our page on Facebook, Reading to the 246, and share the live stream with your family and friends. This evening, we have a special guest. I want to say a special welcome to Mr. Hartley Dottin. Good evening, Mr. Dottin.
Good evening to you, Karen, and all your viewers.
Don't forget
It's a pleasure and a privilege to be with you.
Don't forget to turn on your camera, Mr. Dottin. Yes, Mr. It's lovely to see that face. Good evening again. Yes. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Dottin.
Good evening to you, Karen, and all. Nice a privilege to share with you this evening.
Yes, please. Thank you again for joining us. Mr. Dottin was born at Belplain, St. Andrew, and he received his early education at the St. Andrew Boys School. He then proceeded to Harrison College for his secondary education. In May 1955, he enlisted in the Barbados Regiment, where he was quickly promoted through the ranks to the post of captain. In November 1966, Mr. Dottin was selected for the signal honor of raising the national flag of Barbados on its attainment of independence on November 30th, 1966. Mr. Dottin has served as an active member of JCs over the years and was awarded lifetime membership to that organization. Mr. Dottin has also been awarded several other awards, including the Barbados Service Star Award. He has also served on several government and statutory boards. Now, children, in Caribbean culture, before we had written books, the art of storytelling was quite popular. Children were gathered similar to how we are gathered this evening to listen to the stories of others who have gone before them. Today, Mr. Dottin is going to share his incredible story about the significant role he played on Independence Night, November 30th, 1966. So we're just going to move to story time now, and then Mr. Dottin will share his story. Mr. Dottin, you can go ahead and share your story.
Oh, good evening once again, Karen. It's a great privilege to be invited to share what happened and how it happened, where it started, and the progress made to it. Mm-hmm. My life is made up of different sections, and one of the sections was the military. In addition to the military, I am a practicing land surveyor for the last 60 years, and I've also been involved in community activity. This community activity probably started with my parents because my mother and my father were school teachers at one time. Then my mother became a community development worker. She shared many of her years with the members of the community, teaching young people home craft and handicraft, etc. So my graduation to the cadets was not as smooth as I would have liked it, because my father was very skeptical about it at first until he was convinced by a master that, yes, go ahead, let him try it. And therefore I joined the cadets in 1953 when I was still a student at Harrison College, and went on to the regiment in 1955 while still at school. And this was an opportunity for me to now mix with some of the older folk and learn some of the techniques and the training. And this was usually done on a volunteer basis because the regiment operated for 1.5 hours on Thursday afternoons, with the parade starting at 5 o'clock in the evening. So we had about an hour and a quarter, hour and a half to really get all our training in. And we covered the whole ambit of military training in those days. One of the popular parades that we had, there were two, but the most popular one was the Queen's Birthday Parade, which was celebrated on the official date that the Queen had. This was April 21st, I think it was. And that was real competition because everybody wanted to get on the parade. So when independence came along, and it'd be good for us to know what happened, so that what happened recently would have been a natural outflow of that. In my years, I understood that we had colonial government, where the governor picked his executive committee and they determined what happened in Barbados. Then in 1951, we had universal adult suffrage, where every Barbadian adult got an opportunity to vote. Before they didn't have that, you had to qualify to vote. But now you're qualified as a Barbadian citizen or an adult to be able to vote. So this was an important step and achievement. Then in 1954, we went into ministerial government, where the majority party in parliament had the opportunity to select members of their party to be ministers of government. And those ministers determined the policy that they saw fit for the country in Barbados. Then in the 1960s, don't forget that we had the Federation in 1958, where the entire Caribbean came together now and had an umbrella body that as an instance of governing. That collapsed in 1962, unfortunately. And the cry was, what will we do? And the government of the day thought that independence was a natural progression for Barbados. Barbados was one of the only countries in the Caribbean, I think, that had full self-government. They were not grant in aid. The others had to depend on Britain, the United Kingdom, to determine their affairs still. Barbados, from the time of adult suffrage in 1951, had full internal self-government. So they decided what and how much they would spend on particular aspects of the life. So then independence was the progression for where now we were able now to move further afield, and that we were able to make decisions for our own foreign policy, the people the countries we would associate with, in order to improve the life and livelihood of Barbadians. For instance, one of the signal things in that time was that Barbados joined with Guyana and had a single ambassador in London that represented the interests of both Barbados and Guyana as it was then.
I'm learning
that was an
something
important step.
tonight.
Could not have done that before.
Yeah, I'm learning something new tonight. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Children, we are learning.
We had joint representation then, so that this saved us some money, and of course the staff at the embassy was both Guyanese and Barbadian.
Okay.
So then,
we've always had. So that means that we've always had a connection with Guyana. Yeah.
And don't forget that Guyana, a lot of Guyanese, Barbadians immigrated to Guyana and vice versa. And after independence, Guyana was already independent, Trinidad was independent, Jamaica was independent, but still Barbados continued, even under independence or the pursuit of independence, to share and exchange ideas with other territories in the Caribbean. So in 1966, when we had the conference and conference started in July 1966 in London, and that having made that determination, then it was how and what shape the independence would take, what would be culminating in the celebration. And so therefore the regiment had its role then, still meeting up 1 hour on Thursday evenings, and they had the thing of looking at the celebration and what would go into it. And it wasn't only the regiment, but many other organizations, all the armed units, the unarmed units were also on parade that time. The cadets did their own bit. They merged with Combermere and Lodge School, and they had their own, their display to take care. The guides had the Boy Scouts also had a part to play in it. So the parade was.
So wait, let me just interrupt you one moment. Are you talking about the parade in 1966?
Yeah.
Are you saying that the schools and all of those persons were taking part in that parade?
That's right. Yes.
The Lodge School was there.
Yeah, Lodge School, Harrison
the Girl
College.
Guides, Harrison College.
But then there was also selected students from both secondary and primary schools that had a part to play on the parade itself. So the practicing was widespread, and there were many aspects of it. There was after the raising of the flag and the handing over of the instruments from the Britain to Barbados, there was a fireworks display.
Similar to what we saw. It was last week.
Yeah.
Similar to what we saw last week. I was on a grander scale.
Yeah. Except that the last week one, it was stationed in different parts of the country. But this time it was all done at the garrison. And
tell me what was the overall mood? What was the mood like there? I mean, Aaron Barrow coming in, when we see videos of him, we see him smiling, happy, he was the premier, now he's moving on to being prime minister. And how did you feel as a young man, know that you have been chosen to undertake this raising the flag? Did you see the flag before? I'm asking a whole bunch of questions, but did you get a chance to see the flag before you raised it? The mood,
yes.
What was it like?
We had mock-ups of the flag, and there were several practices. I don't remember how many practices we had, but each section of the parade had its own practice before we all came together. So by August, from August to October, we were going in our various areas. The regiment itself came together and practiced. And the flag raising was the interesting thing there, because now we were looking at what's going to happen. There's me leading the first detachment.
Nice.
And that was a privilege within the military context, because there were senior officers on parade who would have had their own units to lead, and but because of my having to go out to raise the flag, I was given the privilege of leading the very first one.
So you can see there
one of the challenges that we had during that time was that the rain fell for about the week before the parade, and we wondered what would happen at the parade. Our uniforms changed from one set to the other set, right through that. And the idea was that one of the Colonel Hefford, who was in charge of the overall celebrations, he said on the briefing session, he said, because these things happen with all briefing, everybody is informed what they have to do and when they had to do it. And that gave us the opportunity to really reflect upon our respective roles in that. And one of the things was that in some of the other parades, other celebrations that this colonel was involved in, the flag went up the wrong way. Some of it, at one instance, he said that one of the corners of the flag slipped out of the knot, and the flag was flying with one, with one attachment. So they had to come down and start over again.
Okay.
So we were determined that that would not happen in Barbados. So my initial practice was, how do you secure the flag to the ropes on the other flagpole?
Do you feel it's important for you to share your story with young Barbadians?
Yes, I think so, because you never know when you will be asked to perform a similar role somewhere else, and what you should be aware of and how it is. Now, the thing about it is that I was never a Boy Scout. So, but we learned some bit of flag etiquette during the parades as well. So there was the regiment provided for us then a wide range of activities that served us well in all the walks of our lives. And the important thing is the rehearsals. When you practice and you practice and you practice, it becomes almost a part of your being. You live it, you relive it. And at that time, particularly, you will see that here is the parade commander, the governor to be governor general, and the prime minister. They're standing as the flag is presented to Barbados for the first time.
Now, there are some etiquettes and rules related to the flag. And you just mentioned it just now. What are some of the things, like say a young boy or a young girl who's listening to our show this evening, and they're interested in, say, doing something important, or joining the cadets, going on to become an officer, or even joining our army? What are some of the things that that person should be aware of when handling the flag of Barbados, or handling any flag in general?
One of the things about it is that the flag of any nation should be as dear to you as your commitment to that nation. It is the standard by which you are recognized. It is what people see about you, and how you treat that flag is a reflection of how you treat yourself. Now, Barbadians at that time, everybody wondering what's going to happen, what changes are going to take place, how are we going to operate? We are such a small country. Can we face the world?
Yeah, can we face it on our own?
But believe you me, if you have confidence in yourself, if you prepare yourself and you are diligent enough to compare what is happening on the outside world with what you are experiencing, and chart have a vision of where you would like to go. I wanted to be a military officer. My father didn't want to do that. He wanted me to do something else. So my second best choice would be a medical technologist. But then surveying came along, and the headmaster, I must compliment him on that. He gave me that inspiration and that encouragement to do surveying, because he saw that you want to be by yourself. You want to be able to do things yourself, to be creative. And believe you me, surveying is creativity. How do you take a raw piece of ground and have it developed where people now it becomes part of their own, it becomes part of them, and they live and have their being and live out their lives on it. And that is what that meant for me. So the military was a secondary career. And that night, particularly where everybody was expecting and looking to see what's going to happen, we did it all in a slushy, messy, muddy ground.
But look, we've risen out of that. And as Rihanna said the other day when she received her award, there's nothing like being awarded for being in the soil that you were raised in. So messy, mushy, we are here today, which goes to my next question. You were part of the first independence ceremony, 1966. You were here again earlier last week when we transitioned to a republic. And I remember you messaged me to say, "Hail the Republic." So I was like, how do you feel? How do you feel being part of this? Still being
Well,
part of this journey that Barbados is on.
life is a journey, and we pass on the baton from one person to the other to continue it. And what I would like to see is that Barbadians accept the responsibility, the full responsibility of their citizenship, and live out their citizenship with care, concern, and the ability to take the nation further forward.
Yes.
The young people have this, it is their world. And like, the scripture says, some planted, but others will reap. And let us hope that whatever is planted will bear much fruit and much rewards for those. In other words, we don't have to go back and live over what happened before. Life must continue. We never had cell phones when I was growing up, but no cell phone now is like another day, and it goes on and on. So now what we are going reminds me of a story where some young people asked an old man, "How did you manage without this technology and all that?" He said, "Well, we were building and making that technology so you could enjoy it. What are you going to invent?"
Yeah. So it's
that's
those
the
time for
question
the
that
young
needs to
ones.
be answered.
Yeah. So we as the younger generation, we have to take up that baton. I think you did a fantastic. I'm just looking at the photos here, and Barbados becomes independence. How did you feel when you were awarded the Silver Star, your high honors? How did you feel when you received your award?
It was an elation. I felt very happy about it. To see that your efforts and my little contribution was recognized and rewarded. And it also would be a spur for others to seek to achieve such recognition as well.
Now, I don't know if the children have any questions that they want to ask you.
Sure.
I'm just going to invite the children know if they have any questions. Just going to take 2 questions. If anybody has any questions that they want to ask, you can indicate by just raising your hand. But Mr. Dottin, your story is so interesting. And I only found out about 2 weeks ago. I had heard your name as being the person that raised the flag, but I did not know that you still had your story to share. And oftentimes when we think of the independence story, we think of just the video that is played by GIS. I know as an educator, when it comes to the month of November, we play that video, we share it, but no, actually having some person who was there that we can speak to, that we can get firsthand. Like you say, it was messy, it was mushy, but it was RSL, it was the Garrison Savannah. And I mean, that has become a historic location. You are sharing history with us. Your story is important. Your story is essential. Now, I don't see anyone having any questions. So we're going to turn now and we're going to go to a Bajan mashup where Mr. Dottin has to answer the fast 5.
Hope I can make it.
Excuse me.
Got somebody with a question?
I see Kalia has her hand up. So Kalia, you can go ahead and ask your question quickly.
My question is, were there any clean beaches there, or was it just dirty?
Can I say that again?
I think she was asking if there were any clean. The ceremony took place at the Garrison Savannah. So there were beaches that were close by, but at the Garrison, unfortunately, there's no beach. I think if there was a beach there, we would be there almost every single day. People wouldn't go there to exercise. They would go there to swim.
Yeah. The nearest beach would be Gravesend. And
Mhm.
the regiment had a bit of Gravesend too because the shooting range was at Gravesend.
Mhm. All right. So now, as I said before, it's time for a Bajan mashup. So here is your first question. What was your favorite subject in secondary school? Testing that
Mathematics.
memory. Oh,
Mathematics. Still is my favorite subject.
okay. Number 2, you started a photography club at Harrison College. Do you remember the first picture that you took?
Cattle Wash, Bathsheba. Looking from Sturgis. There's a little valley going through there. So you can look through from Sturgis and you can see the whole valley leading up to Cattle Wash and Bathsheba in the background.
Wow, I can just imagine that. Do you still have it?
In those days, what we did was not only take the photograph, but we also developed them as well. So we had we printed them as well.
Oh,
So we had a little studio there, and I practiced it at home as well. All box camera, you're not focusing or anything like that. You just took the
Just one
picture.
shot.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 3. A popular Bajan dish that you like to eat.
Cow heel soup. Yeah. Even as an adult now, we had a group of people at the beach, and I used to do it myself. One of my hobbies is cooking.
Okay, so perhaps you can cook some for me because I've never had cold heel soup.
Yeah.
I've never had cold heel soup. Okay.
Soup with dumplings and spinners and all that thing. Yeah.
Spinners? What's spinners? What's spinners? What's spinners?
Dumpling that you roll, and it comes up to like a like a finger, right? You roll it and
the little thing ones. The little thing ones. Look, I learned a new Bayesian term. Spinners. I never knew. I guess
because what you do, you spun it in your hand.
Okay, roll it.
Yeah, that's right.
I still know how to do some dumplings. Okay, your favorite memory growing up as a child in Barbados? Favorite memory?
Catching the school bus.
Seriously?
Yeah. You can know and it was those wooden buses, the open buses. Catching the school bus, and the fun that we had on the school bus, that was real fun. When you got to school, you were really hyped up.
Ready for school, ready to learn.
And coming from Belle Plaine, St. Andrew, going to Harrison, that was a good long ride.
Yes, y'all probably had so much fun, so much jokes. Yeah, I can imagine. Number 5, the last place of interest in Barbados that you visited.
Harrison's Cave.
Harrison's Cave.
The cave was always interesting. We joined up with the scouts at one time, and they were there exploring, and the scout master was interested in caves, and we went. It was Cole's Cave at first, and there's an entrance in. Don't remember that district now, but it is on the highway 2, on the highway 3, going up to St. John.
Okay.
An entrance over there. That's the entrance that we went in, and we got stuck after we got a certain place, which is now the other side of that was the eastern end of the larger cave that we have.
Okay, Mr. Dottin, I am sure we are going to have some more conversations because you have to tell us about that school bus ride from Belle Plaine, St. Andrew to Harrison College, and all the fun and all the jokes y'all shared. Again, Mr. Hartley Dottin, he raised the flag of Barbados on November 30th, 1966 at the Garrison Savannah. He signaled that Barbados was an independent nation. And despite the soaking rain, that flag went up perfectly. It still flew and it signaled that Barbados was an independent nation. Thank you so much, Mr. Dottin.
My pleasure to share with the young people. Hope that some of them will be inspired to make their mark in their Barbados.
Thank you very much. Now we can't go. Thank you again, Mr. Dottin. Now we can't go without doing a Simon Says. Now last week, answer was a conky. It was from the sea. I am not, but you can tie me and boil me in a pot and eat me sweetly. That one was a conky. This week now, ours, the Simon Says, many think I'm just for fun on the beach, but without me, your homes and buildings can't be built. I'm found in a special place in Barbados. Who, what, or where am I? Let me read it again. Many think I'm just for fun on the beach, but without me, your homes and buildings can't be built. I'm found in a special place in Barbados. Who, what, or where am I? Good. Now remember, children and parents, to like, comment, and share Reading to the Fit 246. You can share it on Facebook, and we're going to be posting the videos on our Instagram page. So again, thank you so much, children, for joining us again. I had fun. I learned things, and I'm sure that you learned things as well. So definitely have a good evening. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.